helping entrepreneurs, business owners, authors, experts, and speakers get seen, get heard, get noticed on any device, anywhere, anytime, within as little as 15 hours. Now, also known as the Authority Acceleration Blueprint. Now, as an entrepreneur, you went into business because chances are your desired outcome is to be financially free, to do what you want, when you want, with whomever you want. You want the freedom to be able to make the choices you want to make, and you want to have the freedom to have more options in your life. Not only that, but you may have a burning desire to help people with your unique talents and gifts. You do that by serving. Hey, it's John McCabe. Welcome to the show. Hey, welcome to the John A. McCabe Show, where it's all about accelerating your authority in your business or field of expertise. And we do that by helping entrepreneurs, business owners, authors, experts, and speakers get seen, get heard, get noticed on any device, anywhere, anytime, within as little as 15 hours. Now, also known as the Authority Acceleration Blueprint. Now, as an entrepreneur, you went into business because chances are your desired outcome is to be financially free, to do what you want, when you want, with whomever you want. You want the freedom to be able to make the choices you want to make, and you want to have the freedom to have more options in your life. Not only that, but you may have a burning desire to help people with your unique talents and gifts. You do that by serving people who have specific challenges related to your field of expertise or the products or services that you sell. Now, elevating your business to be able to sell more products or services or serve more people needing your help is really about growing your business, your presence, and getting in front of the right people with the right message. This is also known as the authority, or also known as accelerating your authority. Now, today is Business Strategy Tuesday, and I have a great lesson lined up for you today. Today, I'm going to share with you the 5 P's to accelerating your authority. Now, regardless of where you are in your business, today I'm going to be sharing with you 5 different stages to accelerate your authority and some various strategies that can help you get there. And what's important about this is you can start from absolutely zero, super low risk with practically no budget. And if you're not a techie, afraid to be on camera, or can't write, don't worry. I'm going to show you some strategies and resources that don't require you to know it all or to do it all. Now, who's this for? Business owners, entrepreneurs, authors, experts, and speakers. It doesn't matter if you have a traditional brick or mortar business, a service-based business, you're a coach or consultant, or maybe you run an online business. It doesn't matter. What I'm going to share with you today works in any industry and any business model. And if you don't like selling and you'd like to teach, then this is the ideal strategy for you as well. So be sure to stick around, because when I come back, we're going to dig into the 5 P's of accelerating your authority that you can use to get more leads, more clients, and grow your business. So stick around. We'll be right back. Hey, welcome back. Thanks for joining me today. If you're just tuning in, then it's perfect timing, because today I'm going to talk about the 5 P's that go into accelerating your authority. Now, one question you may be asking yourself is, why do I care about my authority or even accelerating it? Well, the number one reason you should care about being the authority in your marketplace is so that you're top of mind. meaning that's when someone talks about a particular area of business or a particular industry that you're in, then you want to be the top of their mind. You want to be the first person's name that comes to their mind when they're thinking about that industry or that particular type of business. Now, you want to be the one that people think of when they are looking for help. You want to be the person that they automatically go to when they're looking for help or assistance in what it is that you particularly do or your product or service does. You really want to be the Apple or the Starbucks or the Amazon of your industry. You want to be the industry leader so that you're the very first name, like I said, that people say when they're talking about that particular industry that you're in or helping people solve problems when it relates to your field of expertise. Now, you do that by establishing and elevating your authority. Now, today, I'm going to get into the 5 P's that's really going to help you make that happen. So if you haven't already done so, just be sure to like the page, send some love, share this video with your friends, leave comments, ask questions. Feel free to interact, as this is meant to be a participation show. So I'm just going to leave some shout outs. I see that my mom has joined again. Hey, Mom. Russell Tober's joined us, Brian Abma, and Pepsi has joined us as well. So thanks to everybody for joining the show this morning. And please leave your comments, questions. Definitely like this video. Share it with your friends on your Facebook feed. And we have got a great hour in tune for you with respect to the 5 P's that go into establishing and accelerating your authority. So let me just get to make sure we're set up here. And yeah, I see the slides already up. So, really, what would it mean to you if you could really attract leads and opportunities, maybe hundreds or thousands of people each month, be everywhere that they turn when they're searching from their, whether they're in their cars, their bedrooms, their offices, their living room, and even in their bathroom, because who hasn't searched stuff when they're sitting in their bathroom, and be everywhere that people are searching, and be pretty much a welcome guest. So when they're looking for something, you're there, promoting. You're promoting, you're marketing, you're offering your products or services, potentially making thousands or tens of thousands of dollars each and every month from using nothing more than your mobile phone, your tablet, or your laptop computer to a really highly targeted audience. Now imagine how quickly you could become financially free if every single week you had an extra 1, 5, 10 customers or clients contacting you, wanting your help. Customers who already know your product or your service is the solution to their problems. That's what happens when you effectively target your audience and you accelerate your authority. Now, my goal for you today is to show you how to build your audience, grow your list, influence, persuade, get people to show up, engage, and profit using some of these latest strategies. And for you to walk away with at least 1 to 2 ideas that you can start implementing into your business today or tomorrow that's really going to get you more leads, customers, and profit by accelerating your authority in your marketplace. Now, the question you should be asking yourself is, how can I use this stuff in my business right now? You definitely don't want to use the opposite statement as, here's why I can't do this. So that's the limiting belief. So the question you should be asking yourself is, as I'm going through these things, how can you implement these things and how can it be effective in your business right now? You want to come into this with an open mind. I guarantee you're really going to get something out of it, and you're really going to start to see some success. But it's an accumulation of things that you're going to do over time. Okay, so just like a lot of you, I'm an army of one. I have access to the internet full of outsourcers, which is how I really work and how I really implement a lot of these strategies to accelerate my authority. So, if you're in the same position, I know how you feel. I'm actually going through that myself right now. I conduct and work my business myself. And, what I've found is that there's a lot of resources available to us to help us actually build and grow our business so that we're not actually working alone. And I'm going to get into a little bit more into detail what some of those outsourcers are, what some of those resources are that you have available to you a little bit later on in the show. So if you guys are just joining us, I'm going to share with you the 5 different stages to accelerate your authority and some various strategies that can help get you there. And what's important about this is you can start from absolutely zero, super low risk with practically no budget. And if you're not a techie, if you're afraid to be on camera or can't write, don't worry about what I'm going to show you, because some of the strategies and resources that don't require you to do it or to know it all. So I'm going to share those with you a little bit later on. Now, if you haven't done so already, be sure to like, love, and share this video with your friends. Leave some comments, ask some questions. Feel free to interact, as this is meant to be a participation show. So I'm going to dig into it here, and we're going to get started on the first slide. So the very first P is prepare. And what you need to do is you really need to understand who your avatar is or who your ideal client is. So who are they? Where are they? What do they want? And just as important, who aren't they? Because you want to know who they aren't. Because it's very important when it comes to a little bit later on when we start talking about your audience, you need to be crystal clear on who your audience is. And when you're reaching out to them. So who are they? Where are they? What do they want? And the very next thing is you need to understand what their challenges are. So their pains, fears, frustrations, ambitions. What is the number one challenge that your avatars or your ideal target market is facing right now? And how does your solution, your product, or your service help them overcome that challenge? So what benefits does your product or service have that is going to get the ideal client to the desired result? Remember, people typically buy products or services because they're faced with a challenge, a pain, fear, frustration, or ambition. And they have a desired result. They have an end goal. So basically, when someone goes to buy a drill, they're not buying a drill because of, a lot of times because of the features. They're buying a drill because they need a hole drilled. So they're buying the end result, which is the hole, but in order to get the hole, typically they need to buy a drill. So it's really understanding the pains, fears, frustrations, or ambitions, and what is that number one challenge that your avatar is facing or your ideal client is facing that your solution or your product or your service solves for them. And what are the benefits that they're going to receive on their way to getting their ideal, their desired outcome? So it's important that you understand those types of things. So the next thing we have is what's in it for me. So people really need to stop talking about themselves in their business. They need to focus more on their ideal target market. So when you're crafting your marketing material, when you're doing your videos or your blogs, you really need to stop focusing on yourself and vomiting what you do all over people. You really need to focus on your ideal target market and what's in it for them. So when you're crafting a lot of your stuff, you need to be, speak to them and what benefits they're going to receive by using your solution and how they're going to reach their desired outcome by working with you or buying your product or your service. Okay. So the next one is deliberate communication. So when you're crafting your messages, you need to be very deliberate, and you need to want to plan this out in advance. That's why this is a prepare. Before you even get into creating any content, this is a preparation. You need to plan, and you need to understand that all of the information that you're crafting, whether it be blogs, whether it be social posts, whether it be videos, you need to be very deliberate in when you're communicating with your ideal target market. And what you need to keep in the forefront of your mind is what is their desired outcome and what are the benefits they're going to receive by working with me. So you need to, it's not as easy as it sounds, keeping that in the forefront of your mind is, okay, what's their desired outcome? Because when you start typing, a lot of people start typing, they tend to go back to typing about themselves. So you really need to focus on your ideal target market or your ideal client, your avatar, and the communication, how you communicate is so crucial. So not just in your sales letters, but also in your marketing pieces. Even if you're just writing blogs, your communication is key because you want to draw those people in to connect with you. So when they're reading or they're watching the video or whatever it is, they're connecting with you. So you need to be crystal clear on the communication and be very deliberate about the communication you're using. So everything you write, your script, your video should draw your avatar in. You use a lot of emotions to connect because people connect on an emotional basis. People make buying decisions based on emotion. So you really want to use a lot of emotional words within your communication. Okay. So the next thing is intimate conversation. And you do this by, again, going back into what's in it for me, you're not talking about yourself, but intimate conversation means that you're using a singular voice. So when you're writing things, you're writing you and me, not them and they, okay? Or we and they. You want to write you and me so that when the person is reading it, they feel like you're actually talking to them directly. So, here's how you're going to benefit by implementing these 5 strategies. You're going to attract more customers. You're going to have a deeper connection with your ideal target market. They're going to connect with you. They're going to get to know you, like you, and trust you. You notice that I'm saying you a lot, you a lot, you a lot, and basically it's a lot of the benefits that you would receive if you implemented these 5 P's into your into what you're doing right now to help you accelerate your authority. So using a singular voice, you and me, so that when you're reading it or you're watching the video or you're listening to a podcast, regardless of what it is, the person is really getting drawn in because it seems like you're talking to them specifically. So when you incorporate the deliberate communication in what you say, and you make it all about the client, the what's in it for me, and you understand your ideal target market, their pains, fears, frustrations, or ambitions, when you put a lot of that stuff together, you're really going to connect with your client, and what they read, what they see, what they hear is going to connect with them and want them, and they're going to like you, they're going to want to do business with you, they're going to trust you. Okay. So the next item is your hook and your story. So how does your story connect with the solution, or why are you doing this? So one way to sort of talk about or incorporate your hook or your story into either your solution or into your videos or your blogs or your articles is using 3 specific words: feel, felt, found. Basically, I know how you feel. I've been there too. I've struggled trying to get clients, and what I was working at the time just did not seem to help me, and it seemed like I was just chasing people over and over and over, and they didn't want to do business with me because they really didn't know who I was. So So I know how you feel, and I felt the same way because of what I just went through. And what I found that worked really well for me is to create content speaking directly to your target audience that's going to get them to know you, to like you, and to trust you, and want to do business with you. So instead of you chasing them, they're actually calling you and connecting with you, wanting you to either sell them your product or service or work with them directly as a coach or consultant, whatever it is. So using that feel, felt, found, and incorporating that into your actual story as to how you got into this. So basically you're connecting your story to your product or your service or your delivery, and you're hooking them in that way. So the hook in the story is another great area when it comes to preparing for, the first P is preparing for accelerating your authority. So prepare, the very first P. It's very important when it comes to getting crystal clear on the next 4P's, because you want to really truly understand, because if you don't do this part correctly, if you don't actually go through this part, this P, go through these exercises, then everything that you do after the fact is really not going to resonate with your ideal target market. It's not going to, serve you in the way that you're looking for it to serve you. It's not going to connect with anyone. So the very first P is really laying that foundation. It's building that foundation of your business so that people know exactly who you are, who you're targeting, how it's going to help them. You're very deliberate, and you're talking to that one person so that when people are reading or seeing this, that they're drawn in to want to actually work with you. So that's the first P, prepare. Just went ahead a sec. So if you're just joining me, So if you're just joining us, I'm sharing with you the 5 different stages to accelerate your authority and some various strategies that can help get you there. And what's important about this is you can start from absolutely zero, super low risk with practically no budget. And if you're not techie, afraid to be on camera, or can't write, don't worry about it. I'm going to show you some strategies and some resources that don't require you to do it all or to know it all. Now, if you haven't done so already, be sure to like, love, share this video with your friends on your Facebook feed, leave comments, ask questions, and it's meant to be an interactive show. So I definitely want to hear from everybody, and we'll just do some shout outs. I see that Margaret's joined us as well. Welcome, Margaret. Welcome to the show. So what we're doing is we're actually discussing the 5 P's to accelerating your authority. The next P, the second P, is produce. This is where you actually take the information from the first P, prepare, and you actually start to put together some things. Okay. Now you don't need to do all of these. You just pick at least one of them, one or two of them, and you focus on those one or two. So obviously, after you have all of that information and your knowledge, you're prepared to communicate with your ideal target market, then you need to create some, you need to create your website if you already don't have it. And if you do have it, then you may need to change up the verbiage on it. And you need to create some ethical bribes. And those ethical bribes could be in the form of videos, or they could be in a form of a PDF that they download, worksheets, infographics, basically stuff that's going to get them to, understand how you can help them and get them to come to the conclusion that they need to either work with you or connect with you for more information. So websites and ethical bribes, very important. So you need to produce those based on the information that you prepared originally. And the next thing is blogs. So you're going to produce some blogs that you can put on your website, that you want to keep people coming back to your website, consuming more content. And within those blogs, you want them to almost like they're hidden links, in a series of words or one or two words where people can actually click on that. And maybe they're downloading an infographic, maybe they're downloading a PDF, or they're watching a video series, but it goes right along with the topic of the blog. And it's, you're embedding those calls to action right in the blog. So it's not like you're selling, or you can actually have it so if people are clicking, it pops up a sales page where people can buy something specific that you're talking about without you actually being all salesy. So all you're doing is just writing your blog, and with some embedded links, and people are clicking on those links because they're interested in more information. So it's either free downloads, or maybe it's you're actually selling something, a low dollar value item that's for sale as well. And creating those blogs is a reason for people to keep coming back to your website. So the next thing is sales funnels, producing some sales funnels. Obviously, if you're selling products or services, or selling things online, or even if you're not selling online but you're doing high-end coaching, or you're selling, you have a brick and mortar business, having people go through a sales funnel, even though there might not be a sale at the end, specifically, but having them go through sort of that process where they're gathering information and they're gathering more information, they're getting deeper into the process. So the next the next sort of action is to either connect with you to buy your product or service, come into your store, whatever it is. So having that sales funnel, which is really like a sales process that you take people through, it really helps segregate the people who are just somewhat interested to the people who are more interested because they're taking the action and finding out more information about that product or the service or the solution. So the next thing to produce is a book or podcast. Now I'm going to talk about an overall strategy sort of once I finish going through all these. So having a book or a podcast show will definitely elevate your authority. It's, so having a clear understanding of who you help and how you help them. And you can deliver that very effectively in an actual book, or if you're running a podcast show, because you can incorporate a lot of that information into your shows on a daily basis, and people are getting to know you, getting to like you, and hopefully, and learning to trust you, because they can see what type of person you are. They can see that you're out there delivering value and giving back, and sort of they can get to know sort of your knowledge level and things like that. So creating a book or a podcast is extremely important when it comes to elevating your authority, accelerating your authority. You can do it extremely quickly once you become a #1 best-selling author or you have a podcast channel. Now the next thing is video content. Doing things like live shows, live Facebook Live. Maybe you're just doing a series of videos. Maybe it's the 10 most frequently asked questions and a series of the 10 should ask questions with regards to your product or service, and implementing and producing those so that people can consume them and find out more about the product or service, or more about you, or more about your business, or things that they need to look out for that they haven't been told about your industry, things like that. So creating a video series can definitely go a long way. And if you're in the information space, maybe you're going to create your information product or your course or your paid content. So that's something that might not be for everybody, but that's something that you can utilize as well. So this is a step 2. This is producing your content. Remember, the first thing was preparing. The second thing is producing. Now, what I found and what we actually use with my private clients and the Authority Acceleration Blueprint is that it's a lot of work to create all this stuff. So what I've done is I've found out that if I actually create a video, like doing these Facebook, I'm just going to go through my program, creating these Facebook Live videos. So I'm creating these videos, are 1-hour videos. So what I'm actually able to do with this 1-hour video is have blogs actually created and written. So the content from the video gets transcribed. That transcription then gets reworded and turned into a blog or two. So then we're taking video clips out of the 1-hour segment. We're creating video clips, so smaller clips that people can actually consume much easier. Then we're writing a series of video social media posts. We're also taking all of the transcriptions from all of the shows, and we're actually able to piece together 1 or 2 different books. So we'll have 1 or 2 different books from all of the content that we're creating from these videos, from the transcriptions. And we're taking the videos and we're editing them and turning them into a video podcast. And then once we have the video podcast created, we're extrapolating the audio to turn into an audio podcast. So I don't want to overwhelm you, but what I am personally doing is creating a 1-hour show 5 days a week. But for my clients, I'm having them create 1 hour of video per week for 15 weeks. That's all that they have to do. Then the rest of it goes to outsourcers to do all that other work. So, I'm only creating the actual first video. Everything else gets created as a result of the video, so it gets repurposed. So you don't have to go and create all of this stuff individually. you can actually just create one thing and repurpose that one thing to create everything else that you see on the list. And that is producing your content. Okay, so that's the second P, producing your content. Now, if you guys are just joining us, I'm sharing with you the 5 different stages to accelerate your authority and some various strategies that can help get you there. And what's really important about this is you can start from absolutely zero, super low risk with practically no budget. And if you're not techie, afraid to be on camera, or can't write, don't worry about what I'm going to show you, because I have some strategies and some resources that don't require you to either know it all or know how to do it at all. So if you haven't done so already, be sure to like this video, show me some love, share this video on your Facebook feed, share it with your friends, leave some comments and questions. Feel free to interact, as this is meant to be a participation workshop. And as I do every few minutes, I'm just going to give some shout outs because I see some new people join us. I see Kelly Greeno Evans has joined. Hey Kelly, it's been a long time since we've seen each other. Carolyn Connors has joined. Hi Carolyn, how are you? Also been a long time. And Bella has joined us. Hey ladies, thanks for joining the show. And definitely, if you have any questions about accelerating your authority, growing your business, leave those questions for me. What I'm going through right now is the 5 P's to accelerating your authority, and how you can implement these stages and these strategies into your business to generate more leads, more business, and more clients. So we're going to move on to the next item. The third P is publish. And what I mean by publish is, now that you have created all of that content, you've prepared it, you've produced it, now you need to publish it, meaning that you have videos that you need to get out into the internet world. You have blog articles that you need to get out onto your website and to various other platforms that allow you to create content. You have a podcast that you need to upload to the internet, get on iTunes. You have both video podcasts, audio podcasts. So publishing really is meant, once you've created your content, now it's time to get it out there so that people can actually see it and consume it. So the first thing is your book. So remember, we talked about getting the transcriptions from all my videos, and then getting it turned into a book. And what we do once we have that book is we upload it to Amazon, BookBaby, Barnes & Noble, and they have self-publishing systems. So both of my #1 best-selling books I actually self-published, and the 1 or 2 books I'll be doing between now and Christmas will also be self-published. So I just take the information from these videos, the different transcriptions, and we'll piece together what will turn into a book. It'll get sent to an editor for editing purposes, and then we'll upload it to Amazon, BookBaby, Barnes & Noble, so that the book will be available anywhere around the world, and even in local bookstores. Okay, so that's how you can publish your book. Your podcast, you definitely want to get it up on iTunes, and you want to implement a strategy to try to get it to new and noteworthy in the top 100 podcasts, so that you can generate more subscribers, because that's really what you want. People consuming your podcast, because that's where you're going to deliver your message. That's where people are going to learn to know you, to like you, and to trust you, and potentially take action to get more information from you. And that's how you're going to generate clients from your podcast. Now, your next one is your blog on your website. So from the content that you created, you now have a series of blogs, and you don't want to put them all up at once. You want to sort of drip them out over time. So once you put a blog up, then you do some social posts, then you get some engagement, drive people to your website to engage in the blog. Remember, the blog is designed to sort of walk somebody through the conclusion that they need to take some sort of action, and you have embedded actions all throughout the blog where people can click on links to download new things, to give you their name and email. But just driving the people to your website, to your blog, because you're going to use things called pixels, which enable you to track these people, whether they're on YouTube or Google or Facebook, so that if they've gone to your website, that when they're searching on Facebook or searching on YouTube, that you can actually market to them directly or advertise them, send ads directly targeted to them as well as your autoresponder or your CRM may have the ability to track what they look at, sort of what they engage in, things like that as well. So again, blogs is for your website. You want to drip that stuff out. You've already prepared it. So, have embedded calls to action, ethical bribes. It's really a soft sell without ever asking people for a sale, without ever asking them to actually take action. You sort of embedded it right into the blog itself. Now, the next thing is your video content, your YouTube. So what I'm doing with, just to give you an example, all of these episodes are being uploaded to YouTube. They're also being sent and getting edited for the podcast, as well as a lot of them are being turned into somewhere between 4 to 8 different clips, video clips that you can consume much easier. So they'll be somewhere between 5 and 15 minutes per clip, depending upon when I decide to take a break during the clip. So definitely you want to upload this video content to YouTube, and you want to put a lot of tagging in there and keywords. Make sure that it's keyword rich so that it's going to help you when people are doing searching on Google or they're searching on YouTube, that they're going to be able to find your videos and sort of get introduced to you as well. The next thing is information product courses. Definitely if you've created those, if you prepared them and you produced them, then you're going to need a site like Optimized Press or Kajabi. You need a membership site where you can actually house that stuff, and you have a sales funnel that's going to get the person into the membership site by paying. And whether it's a one-time fee or a monthly fee, you can collect the money, you can do the payment processor and get the money into your account. So having a membership site for that information product is something that you definitely want to have if you're going down that route. That's not for everybody, obviously. Remember, this is not meant for you to do every single one of these things. What you want to do is you want to pick 1 or 2 different things that you're going to focus on, and you want to do it consistently, persistently, on a regular basis. And the last thing is evergreen webinars. So a couple different options there. Webinar Jam. Go to Webinar. There's also some new technology that's just emerging right now. I'm just not going to mention their names because one is just about to launch. The other one is sort of in a trial mode. But definitely look at some webinar solutions. And you want to create some webinars. There's a couple different ways to do webinars. One is you do webinars for the specific purpose of delivering value to people, giving them good content, getting them to know you, to like you, to trust you, to sort of shorten that the time it takes to get people to know you, like you, and trust you. You can do that within an hour and a half. But you can also design and create webinars to do that, but also that you're selling a product or service as well. So creating evergreen webinars, having webinars for people to actually go through, and where you actually have a call to action. Maybe you're selling information products. Maybe you're selling your high-end coaching. Maybe it's an application process to get into your high-end coaching. Maybe it's not a sale, but just an application process, or maybe you're doing a survey. So, you want to get these people to actually take some action. But creating evergreen webinars is vitally important. So publishing that information out there, getting people to consume it, to drive them to that, get them to take action is definitely going to help when it comes to accelerating your authority. Okay, so that's the publish aspect of it. Remember, in the planning and the producing, you've produced all this content. Now it's time to distribute it. So that's what the publishing, the third P, the publishing is all about, is actually the content that you've created. It's now time to get it out to the internet world or to the world so people can actually consume it. So if you guys are just joining us, I'm sharing with you the 5 different stages to accelerate your authority and some various strategies that can help get you there. And what's important about this is you can start from absolutely zero, super low risk with practically no budget. And if you're not a techie or you're afraid to be on camera or can't write, don't worry. I'm going to show you some strategies and some resources that don't require you to either know it all or know how to do it all. So if you haven't done so already, be sure to like, love, share this video with your friends. Leave some comments, leave some questions. It's meant to be an interactive show. And thanks for joining me. And what we're going through is the 5 P's, as I mentioned. And the next P, we just finished publish. The next P is promote. Okay, so after you've published the information to the internet, you've prepared it, you've produced it, you've published it. Now it's time to spend some time promoting all of the stuff that you've just created and just put out on the internet world. So the promotion, the publishing and the promotion is an ongoing thing. So producing, publishing, and promotion is an ongoing thing. It's not like you produce it all at once, and then you take the next stage and you publish it all. Then you go out and start promoting it. So you're producing the same time, once you produce it, you then start to publish it, then you're starting to promote it as you're still producing other stuff, still publishing other stuff, still promoting other stuff. So the very first thing is to distribute. Now there's two parts to this. There's two parts to social media. Specifically, there's the creating the content, which we just talked about. That's the producing. And then there's the distribution side. And what you need to do is you need to spend 10 times longer on the distribution than you do on the producing. So for example, if you were producing 1 hour of content, so you created that video for 1 hour, you need to spend 10 hours distributing that, as well as engaging with people who are following it and communicating on it or liking it. So for every 1 hour of content that you create and you publish to the internet world, you need to spend 10 hours distributing it, as well as engaging with your ideal target market or people that are engaging with your posts or your videos or your blogs. So that's where the interaction comes in. That's where you need to spend the majority of your time, is in actually the distribution. So if we go back to producing your content, if you spend just 1 hour creating a video, remember you can go to some outsourcers and you can have that video sort of repurposed for other uses, and then you publish that content to the internet world. You need to spend 10 hours sort of distributing and engaging all of that content. So from that 1 hour, like I said, if you have some blogs that you created, that got created, if you have some social posts, if you have some video clips, let's say that you have 10 different things that you created from that 1 hour of content that got created from that 1 hour of content. So there's 10 different things. Once they're distributed throughout the internet world, you would spend, cumulatively, an hour per piece, or cumulatively 10 hours spending distributing and engaging with people on that content that you just put out in the internet world. That's why we advise people just create 1 hour per week and spend 10 hours a week distributing it. Don't spend 10 hours creating content and then just 1 hour distributing it and engaging it, because then people are not going to be able to, they're not going to find it, you're not going to engage with them, they're not going to get to know you, to like you, and to trust you. So the ratio is for every 1 hour you create, you need to spend 10 hours distributing and engaging with clients. Oops, where's my mouse? The next one is social media. So you need to using social media, what you need to do is direct people to your content. You need to give value. You need to tell a story, whether you're using Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Pinterest, LinkedIn, YouTube, Snapchat. Basically, you have a very limited amount of time to tell a story to drive people to your content. So if you just published a new blog post, you need to, on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Pinterest, LinkedIn, YouTube, Snapchat, whatever you're using, you need to sort of cross-channel them, bring them to your website to consume that blog post. So you need to, in your posts, what you need to do for strategy is, remember, you got to keep in the forefront of your mind what their desired outcome is and what benefits they're going to receive. So keeping that in mind, you need to create some engaging posts that's going to get people to click on that link to go to your website to consume that piece of content, or to go to YouTube to watch that video, or whatever it is. You need to create that engaging content, telling a story very quickly. If you're using a Snapchat video or Instagram video or something, even in your images for Pinterest or LinkedIn, you need to, within that image itself, it needs to almost tell a story just from the image. So that's very important on social media. Keep losing my mouse. The next thing is if you're going to do any paid marketing. So, that's things like the sponsored ads on social media, such as Facebook ads, YouTube, whether you're doing sponsored Twitter posts or Instagram posts, whatever, you're using that paid marketing to generate more interest. So typically what you're going to do is get your content in front of a larger audience by paying to get it in front of a larger audience. And that's why it's very, very important that you spend the time in the very first P, the planning, preparing to get people to really understand your ideal target market, their pains, fears, frustrations, and ambitions, so that when you're actually doing your paid marketing, it's going to be more effective because you're able to niche down who it is that you want to target, what their interests are, where they're located, sort of what they like, they don't like, who they follow, what pages that they like, things like that. So it's very important when you're doing this paid marketing to understand your ideal target market, and can be much more effective. And with these ads, you're not selling anything. So all you're doing is delivering more content. You're asking them to, to click on the link to go to your website to consume that blog post or that video that you just created and just posted on there. Because remember, they're going there to consume or to get more information, but you've embedded links or ways to actually capture their email or to potentially sell them something. They're hidden posts. They're hidden within the blog post itself. So using that strategy is very important. Okay. So the next thing after paid marketing is press release. So doing a press release can definitely help promote your products or your service or your business. And there's actually a trick to press releases, because a lot of times you'll see people that promoting this as seen on NBC, CBS, ABC, in the Wall Street Journal, blah, 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 blah. Well, there's actually a trick to doing that. It's not a trick, it's just a strategy. I call things tricks. It's really a strategy. So what you do is you do a press release the very first day, and you distribute that press release to all of the major media outlets around the world, like all of the big ones. And that press release is just basically a press release saying that you're going to launch a press release over the next couple days. So that press release you want to get on all of those big media. So that's why you want to leave a couple days between press releases. So if you can get that press release in all of the big media, indicating that you have an upcoming press release about a specific thing, and it's it's in the New York Times website, the CBS, the Fox News, CNN, all of those major news websites online, then when you do your press release, you can put right in your second press release as seen on in the New York Times, in the Wall Street Journal, on this channel, this channel, this channel. And you can actually use a lot of that stuff in your in your messaging and your images as well, because it's valid that you say that you can actually you've been seen in those things, because you have been. So the next thing, press release, is Livecast or Facebook Live. This is a great way to promote your products or your service or your business, is to use video, to use a live cast. And it's great. Facebook Live is great for reaching an audience. Facebook's giving a lot of attention right now to Facebook Live, but you can run live casts from your own website or in a members area, and to help promote or bring attention to some of the other stuff that you've created, the blogs, the articles, the videos. Using live casts and Facebook Live can definitely help out. You can use it for holding special events, get more exposure, educate your audience, and even drive them to buy eventually. Okay, so that's the fourth P. That's promote. So it's taking the content that you've produced and you're promoting it out into the internet world. And these are just some of the strategies that you can use for doing so. Now, if you're just joining us, I'm sharing with you the 5 different stages to accelerate your authority and some various strategies that can help get you there. And what's really important about this is you can start from absolutely zero, super low risk with practically no budget. And if you're not techie, afraid to be on camera, or can't write, don't worry, because what I'm about to show you, actually going to show you some strategies and some resources that don't require you to either know it all or know how to do it all. Now, if you haven't done so already, be sure to like, love, share this video with your friends, leave some comments, questions. This is meant to be an interactive participation show. So I'm just going to, I see that there's a question here. I'm just going to answer the question before I move on. Russell Tober wants to know, would you pay for advertising to enlarge your audience? And if so, how much a day or a month would you spend on ads when first starting? Well, the minimum for Facebook is $5 a day, but you can set a monthly budget. So if you're doing it by the day, it's $5 a day is their minimum, but you can set a budget if you just want to do a monthly budget. Maybe your budget's $50, maybe it's $100. I kind of like the $5 a day. And to grow your audience, yes, but you need to be very clear of who your audience is. So your targeting has to be, you want your targeting to be right on, because you don't want to waste your money getting a lot of clicks and people sort of looking but not liking, or going to your site and not engaging. So it's important to really understand who your ideal target market is and be hyper focused on knowing who they are, so that you're utilizing the money that you're going to invest in marketing. You're utilizing that to the best of your ability, bringing with it some of the some very interested potential clients. So you're doing this to enlarge your audience and expand your reach. So it's definitely a strategy that one can be using to either grow their Facebook page or to grow their website, the number of people going to their website. It's definitely something that we're going to be doing. It's being done right now by a lot of the top marketing people that do marketing in this business for traditional businesses, whether it be brick or mortar, whether it be coaches or consultants. Really, it doesn't matter what type of business. A lot of them are using that strategy where they're using paid advertising to help grow their audience by driving them to their website or driving them to the Facebook page, where these people can consume content that is very relevant to them. And that's the key, is making sure you're clear on your ideal target market, so you're putting it in front of people who's going to have some interest, or they're going to find it very relevant. Okay. And thanks, Russell, for the comment. Some good stuff. Yeah. So the very last P we did promote. So, oops, I find my mouse. There we go. The last P is profit. So this is where you get paid. So if you own your store, or you're selling products online, everything you've done is to drive people to a website to increase traffic, and eventually you want them to buy from you, whether they walk in your brick and mortar store to buy the clothing that you're selling, or they walk into your gym to buy a gym membership or your personal training, or they buy a house from you, or maybe you're selling info products online, maybe you're selling coaching services, mortgage broker services. It really doesn't matter. The purpose of all of this is to get people to actually buy from you, to stand up, to raise their hand, say, I want what you're selling. Okay, so this is the point where we come in and we talk about the profit. Whoops. So the very first one is these are some different strategies. It's called an escalation model. This is where, remember we're driving people to the blogs. You have some embedded links where they can download stuff for free. This is what's called an escalation model. They opt in to get the free thing. And then maybe once they get the free thing, you're selling them a low ticket item called a tripwire. Maybe it's $7 or $17 or $47. That's what's called a tripwire. So, this is the sales funnel that we talked about earlier. So once they're in the sales funnel, they get the free thing. You ask them to purchase something low price, and then you upsell them into sort of your higher ticket items. And then, eventually when you sell even higher ticket items, you already have built-in buyers and you can go back to them for some of the other products and services. So that's sort of an escalation model. It takes people through a funnel from getting something for free to low ticket item to a higher ticket item to eventually consuming something much higher. And the next one is an application model. This is used a lot for high-end coaching or for selling products or services that are very high-end. Like a house, for example, or a car, for example, because a lot of this stuff could be used by a car salesman or a realtor. So an application model is used for selling that high-end stuff. So it's where they just can't buy it online. They actually have to connect with you, and they go through an application process where you determine if they're going to be qualified to get into your coaching program, get in your mastermind, to buy that home, to buy that car, whatever it is. So that's sort of an application model. So everything is designed to get people to the point where they're ready to take action with regards to filling in the application. Now the next one is called a flash sale. This is if you have some products or services, you're running a quick sale. This is something they can do and promote for a short period of time. You can use social media. You can, people coming to your site. You can have a flash sale just promoted right on your site that if people want to take advantage, it's for a short period of time, or it's a limited quantity only. You can't do limited quantity if it's an information product, but if you're actually selling a physical product, then you can do limited quantity. But typically it's a limited time. 3 to 5 days is the typical time frame for a flash sale. And that's another way that you can profit. And doing live casts, so sell during the live online events, something that I've done very successfully in the last couple of years. And my coaches and mentors have done it and sold millions and millions of dollars of products using live casts. It's where, everything that you've done in the past, all of the stuff, all the content, all the goodwill, all the knowing, liking, and trusting has brought people to a point in time, and then you're going to do a 3, 4, 5 hour live event where you're still delivering good value, you're still educating people, but you're asking them to buy. Maybe they're going to buy a higher ticket item, and you can generate a lot of business and sell a lot of products or services using that live cast model, and it's been done very successfully. And the last one is selling or seminars, so selling from stage. If you're invited to talk anywhere, it's a great way that if you can structure your talk, that leads people down the path of wanting to actually buy your product or service. If you're allowed to sell your products or services at the end of your talk or your speech, it's a great way that you can actually profit from that as well. Or even if you have books, you can give away the books during your talk that will lead people into your sort of sales funnel, or give stuff away that will lead people into the sales funnel where you can eventually sell them on some of this stuff. So that's the 5P's of accelerating your authority. And so if you're just joining us, I lost my there it is, my mouse. So if you're just joining us, I'm sharing with you the 5 different stages to accelerate your authority and some various strategies that help get you there. And what's important with this, you can start from absolutely zero, super low risk, practically no budget. And if you're not techie, afraid to be on camera, or can't write, don't worry. What I'm about to show you is some strategies and some resources that don't require you to know it all or know how to do it all. So, and that's what I'm going to go into right now, is some of the resources that you can utilize, that I actually utilize to help me do all of this. Remember, I'm a team of one, plus a lot of outsourcers, and those outsourcers do a lot of the work for me. I just sit in front of the camera and produce the show every day, and they're the ones that actually do everything else for me, editing the videos, creating the blog articles, creating all that content from this video. So some of those outsourcing places include Fiverr.com, 99 Designs, I'm just going to bring them all up, Upwork, Craigslist, Kijiji, Text Brokers, Online Jobs. It's supposed to be jobs with a B, jobs.ph. So these are outsourcing companies. Fiverr, you can get a lot of stuff done. Definitely check them out. You can get a lot of the stuff that I talked about, creating blogs, creating editing videos, turning your videos into podcasts, creating images for your Pinterest or your Instagram. All of the things that I actually talked about, you can get outsourced, and that's what I'm doing right now. Is I have a team of outsourcers that do everything else for me. I just sit in front of the camera and I produce the content, and then they're the ones that actually create the content. They're the ones that actually repurpose the content and distribute it for me on the internet, and then I do the engagement piece. So they're actually doing some of the 10 hours worth of work for every 1 hour I create. They're actually doing some of the 10 hours worth of work when it comes to the distribution, and then I do the engagement piece. So that's the piece that I don't outsource, is actually creating the content, being in front of you, and the engagement piece. If I could outsource being in front of you, trust me, I would. I would have somebody else here, but then it's not as effective, right? Because the purpose of having this show is to accelerate my authority, and it's pretty hard to do that if you've got somebody else sitting in front of the camera. So those are some resources that you have access to, and if you have any specific questions, now's a good time to get them in, because I'm just wrapping up the show. And of course, I hit the wrong button. So, lost my mouse here. So I'm just going to check. I don't see any other comments. So those are the 5 P's to accelerating your authority. I want to thank you guys for joining me on today's show. And definitely don't go away yet. I'm just going to cut to a quick transition. Then we're going to wrap up with some final comments on today's show. So just bear with me for just a second, and I'll be right back. Hey, thanks for joining me on today's John A. McCabe Show. Now, when it comes to raising your level of authority, it's about putting yourself out there, delivering content and value to your ideal target market without the expectation of anything in return. However, when you're creating your content for your audience, you should have a strategy in mind that is going to get you seen, get heard, get noticed anywhere, anytime, on any device. Because not everyone consumes content in the same place or the same manner. Now, while some people might like short video clips, others may like to listen to a podcast or read a blog article, or maybe they like to read a book or consume a 1-hour live show. You don't know where you're going to connect with your audience. All you can do is deliver the content in a variety of formats and mediums for maximum reach and exposure. Now, by implementing a strategy and game plan for accelerating your authority, you should be very strategic with your execution. There are a few things you need to keep in mind when you're working on your authority acceleration blueprint. Now, the first thing is, before you start creating content, spend some time getting to really know and understand your ideal target market, their pains, fears, frustrations, or ambitions, what their desired outcome is, and what their challenges are, as well as how your solution can benefit them. Now, the second thing, out of all the tasks you work on, you should spend the least amount of time creating content. I know that's sort of goes against what you've been told, but spend the least amount of time out of your blueprint creating content. Now, the third thing, the content that you do create should be created in such a way that it can be repurposed for other uses in other medium. So if you're shooting a video, you want to be able to extract the audio for a podcast, maybe turn it into a blog, or create some social tweets around it as well. Now, the fourth thing, you should spend about 10 times the amount of time distributing your repurposed content and engaging with your audience that you do creating your content. So, for example, if you create 1 hour of video a week, you need to spend 10 hours distributing that content and engaging with your audience. So you're spending 10 times as long distributing and engaging than you are actually creating the content. And the fifth and final thing is, deliver value to your audience on a consistent, persistent basis for a minimum of 100 days straight, so that you've earned the right to give them an ask, such as buy my stuff, but never feel they are obligated to ever invest with you, even because they've consumed your content. Never feel that they are actually obligated to buying from you or investing in your products or services. Now, if you're interested in finding out more about the Authority Acceleration Blueprint, then leave your contact information or go directly to my website, johnamccabe.com, or direct message me through any of my social media channels, and we can discuss how the Authority Acceleration Program can help you. So that's it for today's show. I'd like to thank you for watching. I look forward to seeing you tomorrow for a brand new episode of the John A. McCabe Show, where I help entrepreneurs, business owners, authors, experts, and speakers accelerate their authority. Until then, have yourself an amazing day, and I look forward to seeing you tomorrow.